All right, welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. But I want to ask you a quick question. How are you doing today? Like, seriously, like, how are you doing? I think so often, we busy, we got a lot going on, and no one just asks us that question from a genuine place, like a clean heart. It's a lot of times it's like, how you doing? A quick response, or it's like, yeah, I'm good, everything's all right. But having somebody emphasize and ask you that question, it, gives us a level of self-reflection. So what I want to discuss on this day, we keeping this Making It Happen Mondays and this Mindset Mondays series going. This is like part 3, part 4. We're, ramping up these videos. So we're getting into it. And not only do I want to ask you about your day on this Monday, however, I want to talk about pushing through pain. So that's going to be the topic on this day. So on this day, I woke up and, I did snooze a couple times. However, with the systems that I'm starting to implement and being in place, I was like, hey, it's time to get up. Monday is here. Let me welcome and embrace this day and get to it. So I did my thing. I got a little routine, wake up, and do what I have to do as far as just get the clothes on, have a moment of prayer, meditate, talk with God. And, I got into my routine, check my scale. I'm trying to track my in-body scanning and my macros and so forth. And so I got into my routine before I hit the gym. I want to take a quick break right here before I get into this. If you are new to this channel, it's your first time seeing this video, like, man, what is this dude even talking about? What is he on? I just want to welcome you. Thank you for even giving me a view. You know what I'm saying? So on this channel, what we're talking about is just making it happen. We're having clever convos. By the way, if you don't already know, the name is Clever. 6 letters is none better. But on this channel, it's really about, just men getting together. It's just people of all walks, but men and people that are looking to just overall grow. They don't have a mediocre mindset. They want more out of themselves. They're always looking to improve, progress. They want to better their lives, whether that's within your relationships, within your parenting, within your career, your faith. This is about, inspiration, self-development, just growth in general. So if that's something of interest for you, I encourage you, share this content. I encourage you to go in a rabbit hole, see what these other videos is about, like, share, subscribe, and just get to it. All right, now that's out of the way, I want to get back to it. So I'm talking about pushing past pain, right? So I woke up this morning, as I stated, got into my routine and, hit the gym. Today was, what was today for me? More so shoulders, traps and everything. So I did my thing, pretty good workout, right? Afterwards, I noticed like I've been kind of slacking on my cardio. And, we get through a season and a time where we don't really want to do certain things that are difficult or challenging to us that will all ultimately be beneficial for us, right? So, I finally made up my mind. I said, yo, I either like do a Stairmaster or something, or, just the treadmill, but just walking. So I said, you know what? It's been a minute since I actually ran, right? So I hop on the joint, and I like to add a little pressure and push myself to a little limit and challenge myself. So typically if I'm on the treadmill, I will raise it up, the incline, the difficulty. So I did like 7.58, right? So I started jogging, right? And I told myself, like, it's been a minute, I'm just going to do a mile. At least that was the goal. So as I'm running, I got a tune in my head, playing my songs, getting right. And after the song goes off, it's about 3.5 minutes, right? And I was like, man, I'm so far from that time. Like, I still got like 7+ minutes before I hit this mile marker. And mind you, I'm on the incline. I haven't done that intense cardio in a minute. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to quit, to be, keep it a buck and be honest with you. But something in me was like, in order to get to that next level, you got to fight through it and push past the pain. And like I said, this is what this whole series is on this topic today is what is about. And I'm not going to be before you too long. I just want to kind of drive home some points about pushing through the pain. When you feel that level of resistance, you got to find something in you deeper that is going to just drive you to get to that goal. And oftentimes, we get so close to a goal, a destination, and the pain, the challenge, the difficulty is so immense that we just have to, throw in the towel. We'll come up with whatever excuse that will, give us a level of comfort. Like, I was close, but I'll get it next time. But it's those moments and those difficulties where you can just kind of embrace that pain and push through, where you just get a level of not only relief, but a sense of a fulfillment and accomplishment because you did the hard thing. You challenge yourself to get to that next level. So for me, I finally pushed through it. Heart was pumping through the chest and I'm running. I'm like, oh man, I get to it later. But I just kept pushing till I, hit that goal for myself on this day. And, even though a mile to some is light work, for me, not really having jogged in a minute and increased that incline difficulty, it was a challenge for me. But I know like this or any other goal, you just keep pushing and just don't quit on yourself. You'll get there. So if I choose to bump it up, maybe in a week's time or whenever, I can bump it up 1.5 miles or then get to the 2 mile and then, just continually progress. But it's like anything in life. The more you do the hard things, the challenging things, you get them reps in, you'll see growth and opportunity. Funny enough, many of you may have seen that little picture of it's like it's like a animated picture, like a cartoon sketch of somebody in a tunnel. It's like in a cave and they got the pickaxe and they're trying to pick through. And then you see the picture, it's a big rock and stuff, a boulder, but just right on that other side, there's like an opening. It's like their treasure. It ultimately is breakthrough. And I thought that was just so symbolic for me. And I'm sure that you probably can relate too. It's like oftentimes our goal, our breakthrough, our clearance, what we're striving for is so close. It's in hands, it's in arm's reach. And if we can just muster up that strength, you're just to push through that pain, as difficult as it may be, no matter what season or what you're going through life, if you can just push through, that blessing, that breakthrough is right there. Just keep chipping away at it bit by bit, bit by bit. Oftentimes, like we quit before we even reach our victory, get to the destination. We are right there. And then we take, we step back and we're like, man, I was right there. But we just got to have that fight and push through us. And I want to tie this into scripture. And I'm going to reference a scripture that was pretty near and dear to me that just kind of resonates with me. This one is from John 16. It says, I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth, you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. And this is John 16, John 16:33. And I referenced that scripture on this day is that, Christ says, like, have peace in me. Like, if you can get to a point where you can truly embrace hard, difficult seasons and have a level of peace, knowing that this too shall pass. And just also knowing that, many of us already know this, but just, having it just be a reminder that in life, we're going to have some hardships. We're going to have some trials. We're going to have some sorrows. We're going to go through some tough times. This life ain't set up for us to just be all peaches and cream. It's going to be some difficulties, but knowing in the midst of the difficulty, in the midst of your pain, if you can just push through your pain, And that's the message I want to drive home, because I'm not sure who is watching this, but if you are hearing me, if you are listening to me right now, if you can get to a point in your life where you embrace these hardships, embrace this pain, and knowing that you're going to push through this pain and that your breakthrough is right there. You can see it. You can feel it. You got faith. You see it. You can really taste it. It's so close. You just got to continue to endure a bit, some long suffering. And then right there, you're going to have that breaking point, but you're just going to end up breaking through. So I want to close on this one and leave you with this other gem. I was talking to my daughter actually yesterday, right? And she's 5. And, I had her doing a worksheet, an assignment. And she was like, Daddy, this is so hard. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, I get it. I understand it's hard. But you got to do it. And prior to her doing the worksheet, she's working on reading and spelling. I'm like, hey, listen, before you ask me for help, I need you to try. You just try to do it. Try on your own. And that's a word for myself and many others. Like, we just got to try before we quick to, can you help me? Can you do? I just try on your own. And then also what I shared with her, she was like, it's so hard. Why is life hard? It's so hard. And I told her this, and I know this to be true on so many levels. I said, listen, when you focus on doing some of the hard things head on first, then after that, things will become easier for you. Life will become easier. But if you're always focusing on doing some of the easy things, then life will be hard for you. So I dropped that gem on her, and it was also, for me to receive as well, and hopefully you as well. And I say that to say this, that we all want to do the path of least resistance, the easy thing, myself included. I'm not going to sit up here and cap in front like I don't, naturally have that in me. But I'm challenging myself to do the difficult, challenging things, knowing that if I delay some gratification and push through the pain, then I can enjoy some of the fruits and of my struggles and challenges. So lastly, like I said, on this one, man, I just want to encourage you. I just wanted this to be somewhat off script, just speaking from the heart, and just push through the pain. Whether you in a relationship and you going through some hardships, push through that pain. And that pain may be just really having those deep, tough conversations. The ones that are a little uncomfortable, that feels awkward, that you're unsure. You might think that your spouse or partner, they're going to lash out on you. And even if that's the case, be able to be strong and sit in that. Because then you get data, information, and you'll be able to expound and pivot and move from there. So whatever you're dealing with, sometimes, most athletes or just people that have reached a level of success, they know this. You got to embrace some pain. You got to do some things that, here's a quote that I heard, and I know this to be true as well. Successful people do what unsuccessful people don't do. So like in basic, simple terms, like, you see somebody successful, they've done the thing or the things that the average person isn't willing to do. So if you want to break through, you got to do some of the tough, challenging work. So on that part, man, if you got any value out of this, please, share your thoughts. What's something that's been aching or pain that that you need to push through, or that you have pushed through and you've seen some results out of it. Put that in the comments, share your thoughts, like, share. And until next time, man, I appreciate you checking me out. We're going to keep these clever convos going. Till next time. All right.